Alrighty. Land of the free and the home of the brave. Good evening, everyone. This is the Socratic Neighbors podcast, and we are your Socratic neighbors. In the studio, with me, as always, is
Quit, Carl.
And I am your host, Lotus. And this week we're gonna do some patriotic homages to our country, our great country that was founded on July 4th, 1776. And this is just in celebration of Independence Day that's coming up here soon. We wanted to do something a little bit more patriotic than what we normally do, since we are Americans. And I don't know about you, Mr. Carl, but I believe America is superior to any other country because it is the greatest country in the world and on God's green earth.
No argument there.
No argument there. So, how's your week been? I mean, I know it's been a week since we recorded a previous episode. I'm not feeling too good. I've got a sore throat, and I think I picked it up from work, but that's okay.
Okay, well don't get too close to the mic because I don't want to catch it.
Okay. I'll blow on the mic extra hard for you.
Yeah, oh no, don't do that.
Or I'll cough on the mic.
Let's see. My highlight, I really didn't have any highlights. I thought my dog Bronco had a stroke. He was really bad on Wednesday. So he wasn't moving hardly, and I had to carry him. So I took him to the vet, and they gave him an injection for nausea. They think he might have had an upset stomach, even though he didn't throw up. And I just told him all the symptoms, and they kept him for a few hours to observe him. And then they sent some food home with me and some pills. And they just said give him as I needed. And then slowly, Thursday he was feeling better, and yesterday he was feeling a lot better, and then today he's back to his normal self.
That's good.
Yeah, so that was a little hairy, but the other thing was our co-neighbor bought a house, and I went up to see his new house. So that was an interesting trip.
I'm sure it was.
And let's see, anything else? My grandkids will be here on Tuesday, so I'll be occupied for the next few weeks.
Nice. And you're going on a road trip with them, right?
Yep, I'm going to Denver, where I lived for almost 35 years.
Wow.
And my son's getting remarried, their father. So I'm going out there, and I'm going to catch up with a lot of people that I haven't seen in a few years. I was there 3 years ago, and one of the people that I'm going to surprise actually was an old her and her husband and the kids were old friends of our family, and I probably haven't seen her, talked to her in 7 years.
Wow.
She owns a hair salon, and so I called up and talked to one of the people that worked there and set an appointment to cut my hair, but they just put down men's haircuts, so she doesn't know I'm coming. So I'm going to be her 1 o'clock appointment.
That's pretty great. That's pretty great.
Yeah. So I think that'll be a nice surprise.
Cool.
So other than that, I'll probably go to a Rockies game and while I'm up there, and I really don't have anything specific planned. I'm just going to take it, play it by ear.
Yeah, that's good. Sometimes it's good to just relax and take a vacation. And,
right.
Just escape.
And as far as patriotic stuff, this coming week on 4th of July, I think my niece is going to have a barbecue at her house. One of my grandkids are here, and we're going to also shoot fireworks. I guess her whole neighborhood does that.
Nice. That'll be good.
Yeah.
We don't have anything planned right now, so I feel kind of left out. But normally,
well, you probably can watch rockets being launched from where you live.
Yeah, I was asking about that to people at work, and they gave me a couple of suggestions about some various things, because they used to do it over where they said they used to do it over where the Twins not the Twins, the Red Sox. Where the Red Sox do spring training, they used to have a big fireworks show, and then they built a whole bunch of apartments, I guess, around there.
Yeah.
And now they can't do it anymore. So they moved it somewhere else, and the lady I talked to at work, she just didn't know off the top of her head.
Yeah, but I'm thinking you can actually watch actual rockets going into space where you live.
That is true.
I mean, the rockets regularly mean something in your area.
I am really not feeling well if I didn't catch that joke. Alrighty. My week was okay, but slow. It's just getting used to the job, man. It's just it takes a toll on you getting used to something new. So, but we'll see. We'll see how the job pans out after a while. I'm hoping that things pick up in terms of business levels, but my level of exhaustion, just because I'm getting used to everything, is pretty high. Yeah. And Mrs. Lotus is doing her best to find a job, and I wish that there was.
I did see she applied for an administrative assistant.
Yeah, she did. She applied for a administrative assistant, but she went on the interview, and they really liked her, but she just didn't have enough experience for them. And it's unfortunate that they didn't hire her, because I think they could have gotten her. They could have. The problem with having somebody with experience is that sometimes they have bad habits, and not that secretaries or, to be politically correct, administrative assistants have particularly bad habits that you have to watch out for. But, my wife is relatively young, so it's, to me, it's like you could train her and get her at a less expensive price.
Well, and plus another upside to that too is she doesn't have any bad habits. So if they train her, they can train her in the mode that they want her to be in.
Right.
So that she won't be carrying baggage and say, "Well, I've always done it this way, and I'm not going to change."
Right. And that's the way I looked at it going in. That's the way I thought that they would see it, but they didn't. They don't see it that way. So, I mean, I don't know. Part of because it's at a church, and so part of the regulation is that you have to be a member of that church. And we had liked the church when we attended last week, and we plan to attend again tomorrow. But it's like, how many people are going to apply to your administrative assistant position and want to become members of your church? Not that I'm doubting his outreach ability, the senior pastor's outreach ability. I just, when somebody expresses interest to an answered prayer, it's kind of, to me, as I guess as the saying goes, it's kismet. But maybe she wasn't what they were looking for, and I can't fault them.
Also too, and nothing against her. If they're looking, you have to be a member of that church, and they may have had people that applied have been going there a long time.
That's true.
And then even though it's a religion, and it is a position, and it can still be political. It's like, well, my husband or my wife applied, and we donate a lot of time and money to this church. It's like, well, if that might not be their best candidate, but they don't want to ruin that relationship.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. The PCA church, I've never found the PCA church to be like that, but there could be some validity to that, but I'm not, I don't know. I've only met the guy once, and Mrs. Lotus has had a full hour and a half interview with him. So that's
a pretty long interview.
Yeah, to me it was at the end of the day. To me, it's like, if you're interviewing somebody that you just don't want to seriously consider for the job, then I would have put them in the morning.
Yeah.
That's my mentality. Is I'd rather get my interview out of the way, and then that's it. No more. I don't have to worry about it the rest of the day. Right. But you know, it was at the end of the day. She had an hour and a half interview, and then she said it wasn't the typical interview that she's had before. So to me, it was looking up, and I think she was a shoe-in. But I like, there may have been a few things that he saw that she wasn't the right fit. So I mean, I can't. We're going away from our topic, but that's
right.
where we're at.
We always do that though. That's okay.
We always do. We always do.
What did they tell her? What qualifications she needed? That she didn't have enough experience in.
Well, he hit in the rejection letter. It specifically says we would have liked somebody with a little. We're looking for somebody with a little more sales experience. Not sales, little more experience in the position.
So not a lot more, just a little bit more. So it's like, okay, 6 of one, half dozen the other. I don't know. You know, I don't know. Yeah,
I could be wrong. I don't know. But I don't hold it against the guy, because it's, you know, it's his employee. It's, you know, he has the right to choose. So
yeah.
But yeah. So being an American, I've been an American my entire life. I love being an American. I think it's the greatest honor in the world to be an American. And I tear up. I will admit that I tear up at the Star Spangled Banner almost every time it's played, since I've come to pretty much since college, since I've come to appreciate how great America is and how awesome it is to be in a country like this. Just the amount of forethought that's been put into our founding documents, and the thought process behind everyone that serves our military, and the amount of sacrifice that has been made on everyone in this country's behalf in honor of that, in honor of being an American, is just amazing to me. And that's partly why I wanted to do that today, is for the 4th of July and, you know, Independence Day, because we haven't done a Veterans Day episode, and we haven't done a Memorial Day episode. So I figured 4th of July coming up right around the corner, might as well do a patriotic episode. I don't know what your thoughts or feelings are on being an American, but that's my.
We haven't had Veterans Day during our podcast yet.
No,
and I think did we have Memorial Day during our podcast? We started it. Yeah, probably. Yeah, we would have. Yeah, we definitely would have. Yeah, I mean, I take a lot of pride in the when I hear our national anthem, and I know there are those who don't, but I do. And then there's also other patriotic songs that I like, that I feel good about when I hear them, like America the Beautiful. And
America the Beautiful is great.
Yeah, and even Yankee Doodle Dandy.
Yeah, I'm a Yankee Doodle Doo.
Yeah.
And
then even the songs that are patriotic during wars, like the Battle Hymn of the Republic, or Johnny Comes Marching Home Again, or you know, or People Live in the South, Dixie. Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's and every branch has their own song for their branch. So that's a lot of patriotism right there.
Yeah, I really like the different military branches songs. They're really awesome. Even the you know, the Get Up in the Morning song, the tap is not, no, taps is one for when people die, but no, what's it, the Reveille?
Yep.
Yeah, it's really very
and then when they play taps at night, which is Day Is Done.
Yes. Yeah, and I just there's definitely a lot of honor that goes along with being. I've never served in the military, and there are a lot of times I wish that I had, and but you know, I'm too old now, and I made different decisions than I made a different decision. Chose a different path, and so
Yeah, I didn't go in the military either. I looked into it. I really did. My father was, and my grandfather and my son all were in the military, but and like I said, I came close. I looked into it, but at the end of the day, I decided it wasn't for me. And looking back on it, I still don't regret that. I think I could have served in the military and would have had some memories. And then it depends too, because you can go to war and not necessarily have great memories of being there. But I think most Americans that have served in the military have been very proud of their experience, and their chest puffs out a little bit when they talk about it. But I can see where war is hell, and even
yeah,
though we're patriots and we're going to support our military, nobody wants to go to war, not even the military. They
no,
no war is hell. It is. But we do get behind our troops when we do go to war. I mean, we'll do everything for the war effort.
right. And that's the thing. Every it seems like every major it's hard to think of a war. Maybe when we were small, when we were a smaller country here in the early 1800s, but every single war that we've gotten involved with, it's very much like poking a bear, and the entire country moves behind behind the military and behind the war effort. I mean, World War One, things didn't start turning around for the French and the British until the United States got involved, and the same with World War Two. You just it's amazing to me the military strength and the strength and the might of the military willpower in the United States, and the unwavering pride that comes with being an American is you just can't find it anywhere else. There's no other country celebrates our independence and our freedom the way any other country does. And
Well, yeah, I can kind of see that, but I mean, the bottom line is every country they should most countries show patriotism for their country,
that's true.
and they might think their country is the best. We might not think so because we just feel they're not because we're the U.S. But the bottom line is, if I lived in another country and I've been born there and I lived there my whole life, I'm gonna be a patriot. I'm gonna be proud of the military. I might not agree with the government all the time, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna think my country is the greatest country on the planet.
Yeah, I think there's a certain amount of validity to that. However, I still think no other country has freedom of speech. No other country has freedom of religion the way we do. Nobody has you don't have the right to go out and protest anytime you want. You have the right to. There's a lot of things. You have the right to bear arms. I mean, there's a lot of things in this country that.
Well, yeah, but
not,
I mean that.
And I'm not.
Well, that's kind of a broad term because there are countries that allows free speech.
Not in their. It's not built
I mean,
into their constitution.
Look at some of our allies, Great Britain. You're not going to tell me that people don't talk against the government at Great Britain.
No, they recently passed anti hate speech laws.
So they can't speak out at all.
There are certain things you can't say in Britain without either being fined or put in jail.
Well, you can't say anything about our president in this country, but they don't enforce it all the time.
No, you can say things about our president as much as you want, as long as you're not.
But if you threaten him,
but there's a difference between speech
but
and
it's still free speech.
No, that's not free speech. Free speech doesn't call for free speech doesn't cover threats of violence because you can't.
The elitist Hollywood think it does.
They think it does, but that doesn't. I mean, Kathy Griffin holding Donald Trump's head.
I know.
I mean, that's not
you're
me.
Preaching to the choir. I get it.
That to me is not that's not an act of violence, but that's certainly not.
I think it is.
Well, I mean, it is a threat. I'm sure she was talked to by the Secret Service and the CIA shortly after she released that photo. But there, you have freedom of speech in this country, but you're also subject to public court, the court of public opinion, which is where all these elitists and all this stuff lies. Is in the court of public opinion and how the public views the speech that you say. And so the idea behind freedom of speech is that you get ideas out there and the good ideas are agreed upon and the bad ideas are shunned. And so that's the whole point of freedom of speech. And so when you have something like Charlottesville that comes up and everybody loses their mind, but it's only like a few thousand people, which it sounds like a big number, but if you look at it in the scope of this country, it's not a very big number. Statistically speaking, it's not a very big number for the people that showed up to Charlottesville. And so, let them talk, counter their ideas, say you're an idiot, and that's it. And then they go away. It's part of being in the country, and sometimes it sucks. Sometimes it sucks that our country has that, but it's also a great thing that our country has that, because we can hash out ideas freely amongst each other, and not have to worry about being fined or put in jail.
Well, a lot of countries have free speech. The problem is
not a lot of countries. No, there are no other countries in the world that have this free speech the way it's ingrained in our Constitution. In these other countries, they have free speech, but not in the same way.
All right, here's an example. Okay, Japan has free speech. Believe it or not, they do, as a lot of other countries do. But okay. They're in a culture. They're in a culture that has told them that they're, as a society, that they're not complainers. So if the government's doing something or taxes are too high, sure, they're going to say something, but their culture has told them that we just kind of like accept it and go with it. But nobody's telling them they can't talk against it.
Yeah, but is there a right in Japan to free speech? Is it in the founding document?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, is it in a cultural society? They've been ingrained that it's you just kind of go with whatever they say.
Right.
You don't,
okay.
But you can still talk. I mean, if you're making a blanket statement that we are the only country that has free speech, then the entire world is muzzled.
You have the right. We are the only country that has the right to freedom of speech in our founding documents.
Well, that's possible, but I don't.
I mean, no. There's no other country. There is no other country.
Yeah, but I mean,
that has that.
I mean, there's a lot of countries that people are allowed to say what they want.
Yes, there are a lot of countries that people are allowed to say what they want, but those are also countries where they have anti-hate speech laws, which the whole point of the right to freedom of speech was to curb against that. Is that it's supposed to expose hate speech, or what people consider to be hate speech. Okay, we're disconnected. So your thoughts? Sorry.
We're, as a society, we have public opinion too. We can't just go around spouting off whatever we want. It's in our Constitution. We have free speech. But if that's the case, then why are there cases arguing in front of the Supreme Court all the time about freedom of speech? If it's a law in black and white in our Constitution, why argue it? It's in black and white. There's no more decision.
Because it's there are constant debates about whether it's a call to action or an actual freedom of an actual idea. Calls to action are not covered in the intention of the founding fathers. They're not covered. If you read some of the Federalist Papers, they're not covered under the intention of the First Amendment, which is freedom of speech. And so the constant, these past 3 or 4 court cases that have been decided, the Baker case, the Union case, and what was the third case? There was some other case, but I mean, the Baker and the Union case is a freedom of speech, freedom of expression You know, you have the right to, as an American, to discriminate if you want to. But you know that's why the capitalist system is in existence. Capitalism, the only color that it sees is green. And so if somebody doesn't want your money, then you can go to the next baker shop and take it. You take your money there. You know, and as far as the unions are concerned, I don't think that the government should force you to join a union force you to join a public union that also turns around and uses most of its funds to fund those politicians that make those unions to make decisions on behalf of those unions to begin with. I just don't agree with that. You know, but freedom of speech, going back to freedom of speech is the right to hash out an idea. And if your idea does not bring physical harm to someone else, then it's allowed in the United States.
Okay. Well, I feel sorry for all those countries that can't say anything now. We're the only talkers.
But that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that they don't have the right to speak. I am saying that they don't have it in their founding documents as a country.
Okay.
And that's why I consider this such a great country, is because we have that. Our forefathers had the forethought to put that into our founding documents.
Okay,
so
that's
that we as citizens today can complain about how bad the founding fathers were.
There's a lot of stuff in our founding documents that might not be in founding documents in other countries, but it doesn't mean they can't do some of the same things we do.
That's exactly right. You are right. And prior to the end of World War II, Japan, to further your example, Japan was an imperialistic society. It's imperialistic. Basically a dictatorship, and afterwards they've become a democracy over time as a result of American pride and American example, being an example, being a beacon to the world. Same with Germany. Germany has changed its ways and is now a lot more democratic than it was before World War II. Before the end of World War II.
Well, I mean, our government as a whole, it's not necessarily a democracy. There's a lot of socialism in this country too.
Well, I mean, the actual definition of our country is a constitutional republic. Number one.
Right. It's not a full democracy.
It's not even a democracy. You can't just go before the president and complain. That's not the way it works.
You can.
Well,
that doesn't mean you're going to get anything.
But you're not going to get anywhere, you know, and the other
thing is presidents
doesn't. What?
And then again, you could.
But the president is not designed. The president is designed to carry out laws.
We have a president that's pretty open to a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah, that's true. Don't even get me started about the Kim Kardashian thing with the release. Commensurate. It disgusts me. That disgusts me.
Say, I don't even listen to any of that crap, and I don't want to. The only thing that I thought was funny is if we build a space command and he said the aliens are going to have to pay for it. They had an alien come on and say, we're not paying for it. I don't listen to the Kardashians. It's a stupid show. People watch it religiously. And I don't listen to anything coming out of Hollywood or colleges because those people are just nuts.
They are.
But hey, that's free speech.
Did you hear about the lady that got is it what's the one? She didn't get pardoned. She got, is it commensurated? Where you're basically a citizen still, but you can't vote and you can't be drafted and you can't you're like put on essentially probation for the rest of your life or something like that. Is that commensurated? I forget what that is.
This happened here in this country?
Yeah. It was a 62-year-old woman who was put in jail about 25 years ago for drug dealing, and she pled down to something. She's pretty part of a pretty big drug ring, and was the head of it. And then she pled down to some sort of distribution type thing that only got her like like 40 years in jail or something like that, rather than life in prison. And Kim Kardashian went and pled her case to President Trump, and he released her from prison. And
Wow.
yeah, that's how. I mean, you have a point. Sometimes you get something done. But to me, it's like probably Trump's like, look at a pretty girl, look at me. It's I don't find her attractive at all, but I don't. Then again, I'm not him, you know. Don't really want to be him, but
You probably like Bruce Jenner's a transition better. He's all part of that family.
yeah, I don't know. I don't care for Bruce.
What's his reality show? Caitlyn
Kate,
Jenner or something?
I Am Kate or something. Is that it?
Who knows?
I don't understand him at all. I really don't. I'll probably get in a lot of trouble for saying him instead of her, but I don't really care.
Who's gonna give you? Why are you gonna get in trouble? We have free speech.
I don't know. We might have.
We have free speech. Remember,
we do have free speech. Yes, but I'm still subject.
You can't get in trouble.
I'm still subject to the court of public opinion and.
Right, we all are subject to that.
And court of Mrs. Lotus. So, although Mrs. Lotus would probably agree with me, I still, even regardless, I know that there are other countries out there that have free speech, but they don't have free speech in the same way we do, and that's what makes this country so great. I'm a patriot. I agree with you that there are other countries that people who are from those countries that live and breathe in those countries probably love it, and they are patriotic the same way we are with our country. And
there might be countries out there that can say whatever they want, even against the government, and it's okay.
Yeah, that's
probably true. It might be in their constitution, but by law, they're allowed to say whatever they want, even against the government.
That's probably true. But and I haven't read every single country's documents, but I'm only going based off of what I know, what I've read, what I understand, and so. And that's what makes this podcast so great, is that we can say things like that and we can get challenged on it. I expect people to challenge me on it. And I would love, if you are interested in it being on the show, I would love to have you on the show and we can have a full on debate about how America is the greatest country in the world.
Maybe we should, reach out to President Trump.
We should. Or reach out to former President Obama. Okay.
Okay. That's okay. Pass or play? Pass.
Pass. Yeah. So, I don't know. What do you like about this country? What do you think makes this country so great? Why are you a patriot?
It's such a melting pot, and you have opportunities if you want to pursue them, and if you don't want to pursue them, that's fine too. It is a great country, and I mean, of course. We're biased because we were born here. But the thing is, there's a lot of people in other countries that would love to be here. I mean, look at the Mexican border.
That's true.
So, I don't know. I don't necessarily say there's one thing that like jumps out to me that I say this is a great country. I think it's a collection of things that just make it a great country as a whole.
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that.
We got our flaws just like everybody else.
Yeah, we got our flaws. We got our problems.
And we're not a perfect country, but we think we are. No, you're going to disagree with everything. People are not going to agree with 100% of everything that goes on in this country, and nor should they.
No, they shouldn't.
But yeah, because that's how we get things changed when they don't. But I think for the most part, most Americans, if they're true patriots, love this country. Yes.
Agreed. That reminds me of We Think We're Perfect. Have you ever seen Top Gear, the United States, the US version of Top Gear?
What?
Top Gear? Do you know what Top Gear is?
I don't know what Top Gear is.
There's it's a
British
version.
It's a British show, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a British show, and then there's an Americanized version of it as well. That's also
okay. I haven't seen it, but I know what the show is.
Yeah, it's put on by BBC USA, and I'm gonna have to use the censor bar for this, but this guy The there's one of the hosts of the show, and I don't know if the show's still on the air or not. Last I heard it was canceled, but anyway, so they're driving these muscle cars around, and the guy says, a lot of people think Americans are arrogant. He says, to which I say, F you. So funny.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's the old adage that, and it doesn't even have to be this country, but since we're doing patriotic stuff, it doesn't matter. You can look at the patriotic on the state level, the county level, your city level, your neighborhood level. There's patriotic levels all over. And here's the thing.
Agreed.
If you and I both lived in Texas, and there's maybe things that we don't like about Texas. We can complain about Texas all day because we have that right. We live here. But
right.
You get one person that says anything negative about Texas that doesn't live here, and we're going to be all over them like a wet blanket.
Right.
Even though they're correct, we aren't going to let it go by.
Yeah, that's true. Texans
you don't have the right to say anything, even though we might agree with you. You crossed the line.
Right. Well, I was in a restaurant the other day here in Florida, and the lady, it was my wife and I were having dinner, and the lady was like, I was like, this guy was being rude to the waitress, and he says, well, I'm from Texas and we never treat people this way, and all this stuff. He was saying all this stuff, and I got mad, and she goes, why are you so upset? And I said, it disappoints me when Texans hear other Texans be rude to people outside the state.
Yeah.
It doesn't represent the state well, and I want to go over there.
No, because most Texans don't really like that.
No. And you know, if you're gonna be from Texas, you need to represent the state well.
That's right.
And I think if you can't be nice,
if you're gonna say y'all, you better say it right too.
Yeah. And if you can't be nice to people inside Texas, you shouldn't be outside Texas, to me, because we don't want you spreading bad rumors about Texans. But Texans do have a lot of pride. I will say that Floridians have a surprising, Southwest Florida has a surprising amount of pride, I found.
Yeah.
They're very proud of their area. Which
is it gay pride or just regular pride?
No, it's regular. It's community pride. I would definitely say it's community pride. But not Florida itself. It's not the same Lone Star State.
No, not at all.
I've never been to another state like Texas that has that same amount of Texans atmosphere. Particularly when you go to a place like the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. So great. Have you been yet?
I've been to the Western Stock Show in Denver several times.
Well, have you been to the Houston Livestock Show, the Houston one?
I just moved down here, so no, I haven't made it.
Well, you need to go. It's in February.
I would have gone, but I was watching my neighbor's dogs, and they went. So.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, next time my folks go, you're gonna have to bribe them to take you with them.
Oh yeah,
and they'll
have to bribe them.
Well, I mean, you brought them a salt block, and that's why,
right.
That's why you're constantly invited. That's why you have a bigger. That's why they extended a bigger invitation to you than they do to me. Is because you brought them a salt block.
Yeah, nothing says I love you like a salt block.
Oh man, no, it's pretty great. But yeah, I'm very appreciative. I'm very, very appreciative of this country, and I will say it. I've said it 10 times already, and I will say it 10 times more.
Well, there's a lot of people out there that don't feel patriotic right now, or because they don't like what's going on. And then there's a lot of people that love what's going on, and they're very patriotic. But at the end of the day, it's your country. Whether you agree with who's the president or who's not the president, you got to get behind them instead of just whining and complaining about everything.
Agreed.
Because this is your country, okay? And if you're going to want to sit there and just whine about stuff and not help get things done, then move out. Pick another country to move to if you hate it that much. I mean, I don't know how many people said they were going to move to Canada. Well, they're still here.
Did you hear after President Trump got elected that the Canadian immigration website shut down?
Oh, did it?
Yeah, when President Trump got elected, the Canadian yeah, it was pretty funny. I read that in an article. It was pretty funny. But no, it's very interesting. There was a have you ever watched Last Man Standing?
Oh
Which
yeah,
is
I've seen
coming
every
back,
episode.
by the way.
Yeah,
it's
Fox.
coming back, and Fox. I'm very
Yeah,
excited.
I've seen every episode.
Yeah. The episode with Chuck and the youngest daughter, I forget her name.
Eve.
And Eve wanting to go out every morning and raise the flag.
Yeah.
And bring it in every day. And the son-in-law says, "Oh, I'm just as every bit patriotic, because he says, Mike, you have to respect his decision to disrespect the flag. That's what I fought for as a Marine." And he goes, "See, Mike, I'm just as patriotic as you." And he says, and then the Marine turns to him and he says, "Until you've been shot at and busted up and injured by people that want to kill you, you will respect that flag."
Yeah.
It's just
and it doesn't help either that his son-in-law's from Canada.
Right, which is so funny. It's so funny to me. But I mean, it's surprising, like that shows an incredible example of patriotism because of not just of Tim Allen's character, but how supportive the entire how supportive all of the characters are of each other, and it's really foundational good American family. And
plus they have another side because his son-in-law is a liberal and he's a conservative, and at least they're not all conservatives. They do show the other side. So I was really surprised when ABC canceled the show.
Yeah, I was just surprised too.
And then when they brought Roseanne back and she said she was a Trump supporter, I was really shocked. And then it didn't take long and she's gone. I'm not condoning what she said, but at the same time, I'm thinking, I can't believe they're letting her have a show after what they did in Last Man Standing.
Right. Yes. I found it very
Fox produced that show anyway. They were the producers of it. So
right.
it makes sense that they have the show on their network.
Right. Well, and it brought great numbers. And
I love that show. It was awesome.
And I mean,
and it took place in Denver, and since I lived there almost 35 years, that was cool.
Right. But it'll be pretty great to see that show again. The show I've been enjoying lately. That's another pretty good. Have you seen? Because I know I talked about it to you. Have you seen The Ranch yet?
No, I have not.
Dude, you need to watch that because you're a Sam Elliott fan. I know you're you're a Sam Elliott fan.
I do love Sam Elliott.
So you gotta watch it, man. Season 5 just came out for it on Netflix. It's pretty great. It's a good show.
It's on Netflix?
It's on Netflix, yeah. It's pretty great.
I could binge watch it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You could.
Definitely? All right.
Yeah, you can knock out, because this episodes are like 30, they're like 30 to 35 minutes long a piece.
Oh, that's not bad.
And, I mean, it's a sitcom, but it's,
well,
I
didn't watch the last season of Chicago PD, and I love that show. So I binge watched the whole 5th season like in 2 days.
Yeah, you'll be able to knock out. If you binge watch this and you stick with it, you'll be able to knock out the whole series in like 4 days.
Okay.
I mean, it goes by pretty quick. But what's really nice about the series is that they don't call them seasons, they call them parts, and so every part basically almost picks up right after the last one left off. So it's pretty great how the series picks up. And it's very it takes place in Colorado. It's another thing. There's another reason you should watch it. It takes place in Colorado.
Yep. I should watch it if nothing else to see Sam Elliott do comedy.
Yeah, he's pretty great in it. It's so funny. It's so funny because the third or fourth episode, because Ashton Kutcher's character buys almond milk because he's so used to this like high society type lifestyle, this all organic lifestyle, and he buys all almond milk, and he goes, and he's like, show. And again, here's another use of the censor. He says, "Show me the fucking on an almond." It's so great. I thought it was so hilarious. Just, so it's the show does have for our listeners who haven't seen it yet. It is a family show, but it is not a children family friendly show. It is there's a lot of language, and there's quite a few sexual references in it that you probably would not want to expose anybody under 17 to.
Yeah, and just on that note, since you're talking about that, I saw Ted and Ted 2, and it's not just about the teddy bear.
Right.
The kids do not want to. You should not let your kids watch that. No, you should not let your
kids watch that, and do not let your kids watch Deadpool either.
Yeah. Though I will say this: every kid should have a Thunder Buddy.
Yes, I agree. I'm Jupiter's Thunder Buddy, so there you go.
There you go.
But yeah.
In case people don't know that, as Jupiter is his dog.
Yeah, or my four-legged buddy. Where is she? Is she around here? No, she's not here. But yeah. So this has been a pretty good episode. We've had a little bit of debate, a little bit of liveliness to it.
That's what makes it interesting.
Yeah. I'm very proud to be in this country. Happy 4th of July.
Peace, love. You too.
Peace, love.
And I am very proud of this country too. And I don't have a problem speaking my mind, but I just got to put this in again. These people that are celebrities that think they can say anything they want about the president and threaten him, that is a crime. And the Secret Service needs to be vigilant about that, because you don't get a pass just because you're famous.
Oh, I agree. I mean, you can call him any name in the book, but there is no justification.
Well, yeah, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that, but you actually threaten it.
There is no justification for threatening somebody.
This is something else too. You don't go after the first lady, and you definitely don't go after their children.
No, you don't go after their children. No, for sure. No, that's wrong.
They're off limits.
Well, his movie, that guy that made those threats, his movie flopped. Did you hear that?
Who was it that did it?
It was
remember
Fonda. What's his name? Peter Fonda.
Oh yeah, Peter Fonda. Yeah.
Peter Fonda. His movie had less than 25% attendance in the movie.
The only movie that he made that was probably decent was Easy Rider.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I've seen him in other stuff. It's like
his movie was budgeted for a couple $100,000, and he didn't even make a third of that.
Well, he is Hanoi Jane's brother.
Yeah. So, but I mean, that's the great thing about this country. You get what's coming to you if you speak ill will upon people. But I don't speak ill will upon people. And as far as presidents are concerned, I didn't care for Barack Obama. I didn't care for his administration, but he was my president because the Republican Party lost. We lost.
And you don't want a president that sucks, whether you voted for him or not.
Right, but you lost. It's part of being a patriot is trying to ensure that whoever is in power does the right thing and does a good job.
Right. Right.
I didn't agree with Obama's policies. I didn't agree with the Democrats and how they handled things, but I certainly did not want them to fail. Yeah, I wanted them to make this country better. And if you can not be somebody I agree with, but still make this country better, then that's all the more power to you.
Yeah, no argument there.
So, but I have no interest in being president because somebody's going to dig up this podcast and use it against me.
Yeah, they'll play it on Meet the Press.
They'll play it on Meet the Press.
You should
You were quoted in 2008. Mr. Whitlow, you were quoted in 2018 as saying you hate this.
Well, if you lived in a townhome rather than an apartment or a condominium or a loft, they probably would have a homeowners association, and then you could run for president of that.
Yeah, right. Well, my mom's been trying to get my dad to run for the subdivision board, homeowners association in their
Oh,
neighborhood.
they have one there?
Yeah, in the homeowners association for theirs, my mom's been trying to get my dad to run for the board because he'd be like great at it, and he really would, but he's just not an elected official type person. Like he just doesn't.
No.
He just
Your grandfather should run.
Yeah, I think he should. I think he'd be great.
He's a pretty straight talker.
He would, yeah. I think he'd be pretty good. But we have our disagreements in this country, but there is no reason you should wish any ill will against somebody.
Well, we do, but at the end of the day, we're all Americans.
Right. We are.
And it's okay to agree to disagree. Unfortunately, not everybody thinks like that.
Yep. It's true. So, but anyway, should we close up the podcast, make it a shorter podcast?
Anything you want to add or
no?
You want to talk about or anything?
No.
And what exactly are your plans then? You don't know for sure what you're going to do?
No, I don't know for sure. I got to find out what Mrs. Lotus wants to do. So it'll be good. I think we'll have some fun. I'll probably wrangle up some hot dogs and apple pie.
Go to the library.
Yeah, go to the library. Well, I'm taking the day off. It's in the middle of the week, and I'm taking the day off because there's nothing going on at my work.
They don't have anything planned with your company?
No, they don't have anything planned for my company until August, and it's a small company, employees only retreat, which I found out this week it was employees only because I was.
So you're going to be off for a few weeks?
No, in August it'll be a company retreat.
Oh, then you're going to be off for a few weeks then?
Or no, it'll just be 2 days. It's a 2 day.
Oh, 3 days. Okay.
Yeah, 3 days. But yeah, no, this has been the Socratic Neighbors podcast. I'm your host, one of your hosts, Lotus, and in the studio remotely.
And I'm on the other remote boat, Quick Carl.
Quick Carl. And we're patriots. We're proud of it. Damn proud of it.
Right. Proud to be an American.
Proud to be an American. That's another song
and
that I really enjoy.
And if you don't love this country, there are other countries that will take you.
Yeah, there are. That's another song I enjoy. I'm proud to be an American.
Oh, yeah, that's a great song. I'll tell you what I'm proud of, too, song-wise. I like Neil Diamond's Coming to America.
Coming to America.
That's a great song.
It is a great song. Red, White, and Blue. Who's that? Who sings that? Red, White, and Blue. Is it Toby Keith? I really like that song, too.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that one. I like Woody Guthrie's This Land Is Our Land.
This Land. Yep. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's good. You can catch us on the Twitters at Socratic Podcast. We don't post a whole lot on the Twitters because we're more sociable people than we are internet people.
That's right.
We ain't one of those internet folks. We just have an account just for.
Well, we really don't want to horn in on President Trump's media.
No. Why would we add to that bag of smelly stuff? You can also email us at socraticneighbors@gmail.com. Find us on iTunes, pretty much anywhere you can download a podcast. We're there. YouTube. To repeat myself, I didn't say it last episode, but we do delete previous episodes off of our iTunes and Google Play accounts because we like to not pay for things. We're cheap Americans.
Yeah. Let's send this money and that could change.
Right. So, yeah. Yeah,
we are on YouTube. We have all the episodes on YouTube, right?
All of the episodes are on YouTube, even though YouTube is designed for video and not audio. However, we do keep the 7 most recent episodes on our iTunes account.
And maybe we can do something with video down the road.
Yeah, maybe we will. I'll have to get in makeup and costume. So
do hand puppet things.
Do hand puppet things? Okay. Yeah. It'll be...
You can do that. And we're going to have a layoff unless you do a podcast in the next few weeks when I'm gone.
Yes. Well, I plan to wrangle up some guests.
Good.
Yeah, I think I might have my sister on to do relationships with animals and the human interaction.
Oh, yeah, she does that
animals,
stuff, right?
She does that stuff. And then I'll probably do another episode separately with a couple of gaming folks of mine, and we can talk about gaming, and then we'll do another gaming episode with you as well.
Yeah. Because I got all that historical knowledge.
You got the historical knowledge. I'll survive without you. I'll tell you that much.
Most people do.
But it'll be great to have you back in August, and just text me and let me know when you get back, and
I will.
We'll talk about road trips.
And I'll look forward to hearing the podcast while I'm gone.
Yeah. Yep, for sure. I'll text you when it's out.
Okay.
So, sounds great, man.
All right.
Across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA. There's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Happy 4th of July, everybody. Thank you to all those who serve, who have served, and who have lost loved ones in service to this great nation. Here at the Socratic Neighbors and the citizens of the United States, we are forever in debt to you. We owe our lives, our beliefs, and our freedom to you. Thank you so much.